Hello, is this Jerry?
Hello?
Hey, this is Howie the Rat.
Oh, would you like some glory hole?
No, I was actually calling to see if I could move up from 12 to 10. Would you like to trade?
I love making trades because trades are fun and I can do the things and do the stuff and do the moves around the stuff in the valley. Who you looking to come get there, rat?
Great. Could we move up from Micah Parsons?
Excuse me, say that again. I'm a little old, can't hear.
Micah Parsons out of Penn State?
You can go fuck yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That is?
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to episode 95 of Birds vs. Boys. We are in the, I guess you could say, dog days of the season. Not really, though. It's the end of the season, which is making me sad. There's only 4 regular season games left.
The crunch time.
Crunch time. There we go. And we have an extra game this year. Can you imagine if we only had 3 games like normal lifetime? I'd be miserable.
I now realize it's better. Not for the players' bodies, but for me sitting on my couch. Yeah, it's absolutely better. 4 weeks of fantasy playoffs starting now. 4 weeks left in the season where it's like a dead heat with 7 playoff seeds. It is 1,000% better to someone who's not putting their body on the line.
Thank you for the fantasy win in the branded league for the Olds against you this week. I think you had Adam Thielen playing and somebody else. So the Olds have gone from 1-5 to 8-6, second overall in the league. We're going to take it all down because I think there's 3 people actually still playing.
Listen, man, I added a big money on my other league that we've been doing for like 12 years. Got to focus. You can't lose focus. What's that quote from Ocean's 11? Lose focus in the second for one game, for 1 second.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if it's your first time here, I am Kmess. That is Aidan. This is Birds vs. Boys. If you are listening again and again and again, like our Spotify numbers have been showing, thank you to all of you. And make sure you tell a friend, tell a family member. Hop on the Birds vs. Boys bandwagon. So we got a little bit of everything for anybody. We talk NFL. We talk kind of whatever you want.
Civil War.
Right? Yeah, Civil War. Public hangings. You know, we are also kind of, Aidan, unhinged right now, and the handcuffs are off because our producer's getting too big for us, and he's not behind the scenes right now.
2 things. 1, you think just now we're becoming unhinged? Just now.
More unhinged.
And 2, yeah, we've been big timed by our producer. He's too good for us now. He has an interview with some guy named Brent Musburger.
Never heard
so
of
he
him.
couldn't be on with us because now he works for Warren Sharp, who has a blue check mark on Twitter. So he's better than us.
Dave Portnoy doesn't have a blue check mark. Okay.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the episode where we have 2 TikToks tonight, we'll see if Vince's agent or his intern let him know what the TikTok subjects were tonight, or if some intern put the list together for him. Who knows? I mean, he's probably in contract negotiations with somebody else at this point.
It's amazing how quickly one forgets about who's made them.
Oh yeah. Totally forgot his roots. Just left us in the dust. Mm-hmm. Totally forgot his roots.
We had a phenomenal interview with this Australian guy. We got like a 8-second clip out of it. The beginning of the days, we used to have 17 clips a show.
Guy got one office. He put together an office and then he forgot who he was.
He gets an IKEA desk, puts it together himself, and now he thinks he's God.
I know. Yeah. It's insane. He started talking to people with blue check marks on Twitter, and then he was like, "Oh, I forget who I am."
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe we have somebody on the show tonight with a blue check mark, Aidan.
Oh yeah, I'm actually excited for this. It's a Cowboys personality. That the reoccurring theme is that I keep saying I'm excited for this Cowboys personality. We've got Chris Arnold. He is of 105.3 The Fan, correct?
Mhm.
Which is your favorite radio station down there in Dallas. Also,
Absolutely.
can't wait to get into this. The MC for the Dallas Mavericks. So
Great voice.
we may be talking about NBA as well as the Cowboys-Eagles rivalry.
PNR crossover.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need, especially this time of year. It's perfect. So that's going to be a great interview that we have coming up. Another Cowboys personality, but we loved it because last week, like we said, we did a Washington football team that was perfect. So now we're back to our roots this week.
We are. It's I listen to him all the time. He does the tailgate show, which is the pregame show before the pregame show on game days as well. So yeah, he's gonna be a lot of fun. I have a ton of questions to ask him. Do you want to well, one thing before we get into Eagles Cowboys that I don't want to talk about, but I feel like we kind of almost have to. That C word's kind of back in the league, huh? COVID.
Oh, my brain.
Yeah, did not go there.
Like I told you, if you think Unhinged is just now happening, if you would have read my mind just now, you
COVID
would have
wasn't
known
there.
that this is not the start of Unhinged. But yeah, it's not great.
75 players in the last 2 days, and we're recording this on Tuesday. We usually record on Wednesday, but it's Tuesday night, and there have been 75 players who have tested positive in the last 2 days.
What's wild is I think it's worse in the NBA. Like the Bulls had like 10 players on the list alone, just one team.
I mean,
I think the Nets also have like 8 now.
Washington legitimately might not be able to field a defense against your Eagles this weekend.
Well, I mean, that's why we'll get into it when we talk
Yes.
Eagles, but there's like a simplicity factor to life right now for the Eagles that I'm not accustomed to, but it's just there. But yeah, I mean, it sucks because, and I thought about this, like we brought up fantasy football before, and I was listening to a show, and I'm not going to put them out there, but they were like, oh, well, it could be good luck, like just talking about like how a player could be out and saying it's bad luck because it's the playoffs. And the guy was like, oh, well, it could be good luck. And I'm like, you don't want to win your league because the other guy has 3 players who have COVID. And it applies to real life too. Like, you don't want to win because the other team has like 6 players on the COVID list. Like, if you play the Rams this week, I forget who they play. Like, all right, if you don't play Jalen Ramsey, Odell.
I believe they play the Ravens.
They play the Ravens?
I think so, yeah.
I think you're right because I don't know if you've seen the back stretch of the Ravens schedule. It's not fun.
No, it's not. And Lamar's hurt.
Remember when last year when I was like, if we were an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes? This year, if we were an AFC North podcast, it would take 3 hours.
Question and hypothetical that just popped in my brain. Super Bowl, let's say it's a rematch of this year. Okay, Bucks Chiefs.
Which would be hilarious. I heard another podcast talking about this. As crazy as this year has been, and there are so many contenders, it realistically could just be a rematch.
Absolutely. Let's say it's a rematch, and day of or day before or a few days before, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady both test positive for COVID. Does the league push the game back?
I don't think you can.
Well, let's say the week before, and they don't know. It's wishy-washy.
This is messed up to say, but everything we've seen from the NFL is about money. They would say that they passed the test and let them play with COVID.
You're right.
They just wouldn't stop it. Like, they're just not going to miss out on the money. They're never like, and give it take it one step further. If it were a Patriots Bucks Super Bowl and Tom Brady tested positive for COVID,
no chance.
Like 5 days before, they would let him play. Like, they're not going to miss out on the greatest ratings bonanza of all time. Money drives everything.
Yep, it does. It does. All right. Let's get in since we have the interview coming up. I did want to throw out there too. Told you. So girl that I grew up with is next door neighbors and best friends with Micah Parsons. So I have a realistic opportunity soon that I'm going to be FaceTiming and saying hello to Micah Parsons.
Please tell him how much I love him.
I will. I was like, what? She's like, oh yeah, he's over here for game night every Friday night. I'm like, all right, so he's not doing dumb things. She's like, no, he acts like an adult. I go, you made me very happy with that.
Yeah. My favorite thing that you told me that he did the classic like neighbor thing, but I thought this was like you're 40 years old and live in suburbia. which I guess most of his neighbors probably are,
Mhm.
because it takes you 20 years to get sustainable income unless you're already the best linebacker in the league.
Mhm.
But he did the thing where when he moved into the neighborhood, he knocked on the door. I was like, "Hi, I'm the new neighbor."
Yeah,
My name's
literally.
Micah."
And they're both diehard Giant fans, and her husband was like, looked at the Ring doorbell and was like, Micah Parsons is at our front door. Unbelievable.
That's
It's
funny.
awesome. All right, let's get into it. So the Eagles take on the Washington football team, who was disposed of, probably should have disposed of much worse last week, but they got the win. So you get noodle arm Tyler Heinicke and
Maybe.
Washington. Maybe, yeah. I'd rather play him than Allen because Allen has a better arm than him.
I
They both
don't
stink.
know. I think there's a level of chaos factor with Taylor Heinicke.
Stinks.
I know, but there's just like there's a level of just chaos. It's like he's like the wild card scene from It's Always Sunny with Charlie Kelly. It's like you don't know what's about to happen.
Yes, you do. You have a good defensive line. They have a bad offensive line. Murder season.
I'll tell you what, you were right though. He throws so many footballs that if you're a Washington fan, I don't know how you don't have 6 panic attacks per game.
Oh, you do.
He puts the ball.
Dallas should have had 7 interceptions. Legit,
I
and I'm
know.
not kidding. Legitimately 7.
They should have had 7 interceptions. And he does that on a weekly basis.
Mhm.
That wasn't an outlier game. But sometimes it works. And sometimes he throws 3 interceptions.
It worked on the one touchdown that they had. That was the lowest percent chance of a completion all season. It was 9% chance, I guess, by the analytics, that his 43-yard touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone would actually be completed for a touchdown, and it was. And it was just like, it was one of those moments, but it was pure luck. And then 2 seconds later, he's just like,
He just lofts the ball, like the way he throws it. Like, I don't think he throws it as if he had the confidence in that his arm was of the level of Justin Herbert's.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
how he throws a football.
He's like,
Except he has an equivalent arm of Gardner Minshew, which I think is a fitting comparison.
I think Gardner might throw a better ball than he does.
I don't.
A
That
little,
is
not by
great
much.
question. That is a great question
like,
as to who you'd rather have.
Minshew threw some balls against the Jets. Like that one deep one to Dallas was a nice ball.
Yeah.
I didn't see one of those really.
Yeah, but I think Heinicke can do that. That's the thing. Like he could do that.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
just like you don't know. From week to week, you have no idea. He could put that ball on there, or it could float in the sky, and we could have Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox, and Rodney McLeod all waiting underneath it.
Mhm.
It totally depends.
It's a punt.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's just I don't know. It's like I remember back in the day. Remember when the Red Sox had Tim Wakefield and he threw a knuckleball? I was like, he is either going to strike out the side or someone is going to hit it so far over that green monster that it's going to land in Charlestown.
And that's what happened every other game.
Yeah,
Literally.
that's what it's like watching Heinicke, and you just like don't know what's going to happen.
Get in his face, and you'll get like that's what Dallas did. The defensive line was active from go, and Randy Gregory and Micah Parsons and Neville Gallimore and DeMarcus Lawrence were in his face, and he was like, what? It's like when Micah got to him, he's like, how are you here already? Like, I don't, that's like quarterbacks can't compute how fast he is. And you get that going combined with the noodle arm. Good night.
I don't think offensive linemen can also compute how fast he is.
It's amazing.
But I'm glad you brought that up because I touched on this before. There's a simplicity factor to this week for the Eagles, and just like being an Eagles fan, like the path to the playoffs is there. Like you can run all the simulations you want. You just have to win. Yeah. You just have to win, and it starts this week, which against the Washington football team. You're at home, coming off your bye. This team is likely going to be depleted. There's a chance that you're facing their backup quarterback in Kyle Allen, who won't have his top weapon in Terry McLaurin, depending on his concussion.
Logan Thomas is not there.
Logan Thomas, torn ACL. It was official as of today. It took a while. On the other side of the ball, they were already down Montez Sweat and Chase Young. They likely will be without Jonathan Allen due to COVID. We touched on that. Not great, but it's the reality of the situation. We won't have Quez Watkins. It looks like Kendall Fuller on the COVID list as well. So you're facing.
I know their center got hurt against us as well, so I don't know if he's in it. He got carted off.
I was going to say he had an Achilles injury, so that's bad. You never want to see Achilles in a cart. That combination usually like the worst. Yeah, so it's like all of those things add up. So you're at home off your bye against a team that's injured, who is ahead of you in the rankings. This is easy. You either win or you don't really deserve to be in the playoffs in the first place. You
play to win the game.
There is a realistic chance that this Eagles team is facing a depleted Washington team on both sides of the ball, the Giants, Washington again, and a Cowboys team resting their starters in week 18. Possibly, depending on the seeding. It's there. Just win.
We've been saying it. We've been saying it before the Giants loss that it's been there.
And it's even more clear now because thankfully they've beaten all of those NFC South teams. So if there is a tiebreaker, they will own it. So look at the other teams they're in the hunt with. You've got the Falcons, hilariously, the Falcons, Saints, Panthers. They hold the tiebreaker over all three of those teams.
And the Panthers play Tampa twice.
Exactly.
And New Orleans plays Tampa.
I was going to say, and Tampa plays New Orleans this week. Also, the Vikings, I don't know if you've seen their schedule. They still have the Rams in 2 weeks, and the week after they play at Green Bay.
Yep.
Your path is so evident and so clear. It is so simple. And this is a time of year where your life is probably hectic with work and around the holidays. As fun as the holidays are, it's a hectic time, just like getting presents and getting everything in order in time for the holidays. It's just, as a Philly fan, we don't hear like simple stuff often, but it's like, this is simple. Either you're good enough to beat a depleted team and a bad Giants team and make the playoffs, or you're not. And we're just wasting our time anyway. It's right ahead of you.
And you know what's possibly right ahead of us? Cowboys Eagles first round of the playoffs.
Legit.
It's a very realistic opportunity.
Very realistic. It depends on this NFC West.
Yep. The Rams beating Arizona helped the Cowboys.
Yes.
Obviously, 3 and 4 stayed the same. 4 and 5, I'm sorry, stayed the same. Green Bay jumped to 1. Arizona's 2. Who's 3? Tampa's 2. Arizona's 3.
Okay.
Dallas 4. Rams 5.
Rams 5.
And then Washington 6. Or no.
No,
San Fran 6, Washington 7.
And I'm glad you brought them up because I was thinking about this today. There are 5 teams in the NFC, including Cowboys, who could realistically go to the Super Bowl, and I would not be shocked. And there's a 6th team in the Niners who could win a playoff game, and it would not shock me one bit. Like, they are turning into everything you expected them to be at the beginning of the season. Like, early on, Raheem Mostert got hurt. Elijah Mitchell came in. He got hurt. Kittle got hurt. Brandon Ayuk wasn't even playing, and you expected him to take that next step. Jimmy G got hurt. All of those guys are back. Deebo Samuel is now also a running back who's good, as well as a wide receiver who's good. Kittle is just going the full like beast mode, catches anything in the vicinity. And Ayuk has taken the next step, just furthering the salt in the wound of the Reagor decision.
Did you hear the 49ers radio call when he scored the touchdown to win?
Yes. So I was driving back from Harrisburg to Philly, and I did hear it. And they were like, that's a touch. The guy was adamant. He was like, that's a touchdown. He never stepped out. The guy was like, he's got gold on those cleats and it never touched that white.
And then you heard the song?
What song?
They sang Ayuk.
Ayuk
is on fire.
The
young guy goes, we don't need no water. Just let him win. Like, I was like,
it was fantastic. Awesome. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, they were doing that. They were doing that before they even called, like the refs called it. They were waiting for the refs to call it. And they're like, Ayuk is on fire.
I love it. And I also had Brandon Ayuk against you in fantasy this week. So again, thank you.
Oh, and my other dude, I got Kittle in my other league. It's just like It is such a godsend. He just catches. He gets 15
everything.
targets. Jimmy G has
unbelievable.
figured out how easy life can be.
Yep.
Just throw it at George Kittle, and good things will happen. But yeah, I mean that's a 6 team that you won't want to face in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple. I don't want to see the Rams first round. Definitely not.
Yeah, they're good.
It just doesn't make sense of them not being good.
It's just like the NFC West thing.
Yeah.
It's like the Big Ten East. Like they just kill each other, and then they don't make the playoff because they're all good and they all have to play each other.
Yep, it's wild.
Yeah,
I'm hoping Seattle plays a little spoiler here and beats both of them. I think they play them both. No chance of it, but
if Russell Wilson would have just waited and come back at a normal thing and not had to do like a weird documentary thing, I think they'd be like way better off.
Look how fast I'm training my fingers.
Isn't it crazy? I know we're not going Eagles and Cowboys, but it all works in together.
Yep.
Like the healing time was like 8 weeks, and he came back after 6, and then he looked terrible for 2 weeks, and then after 8 weeks he looks fine. It's like if you would have just remained on the timetable that the doctor gave
instead of making videos and be like, I rehab my finger 19 hours a day.
Yeah, but you're right. They could be a spoiler as well. So there's a lot of shape shifting pieces there.
We got a month left.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Gotta be fun. But yeah, so I want to like hit it over to you for the Cowboys stuff. I really don't have much Eagles stuff because I think this is a kiss game.
Jalen Hurts is back, right?
Jalen Hurts will be back.
Okay.
Jason Kelsey is healthy.
Jordan
I
Howard?
don't know about Jordan Howard yet. I don't know what's going on in the backfield. It seems like we have 4 different people at this point. I don't know who's 1, 2, 3, and 4 power rank.
That must be a nice problem to have because I have Corey Clement.
You're welcome. Listen, you want to win a Super Bowl, you better have Corey Clement catch lightning in a bottle.
I'm fine with it.
You'll be fine. The only other Eagles thing, well, one real quick, saw my first mock draft today. Can't wait to do my draft coverage with you. David Najabo out of Michigan, the defensive end.
Don't hate it.
Oh, I love it.
He's a beast on the other side of Aidan.
Yep. I was watching that. I was watching that Michigan Ohio State game, and I was like, "There's like 6 people on this field right now when Ohio State's on offense and Michigan's on defense that I'd want on my Eagles team." So
I saw one mock draft with the Cowboys taking Sauce Gardner, the corner out of Cincy. Imagine putting him on the other side of Diggs.
Yep. Their secondary is probably best in college. Him and the kid who's named after Kobe.
Oh yeah,
they're sick. Like it's the best secondary probably. We'll see how it holds up against Alabama, but they're solid.
Yeah, they are.
And then the only other thing is the debate that's been going on because of how well Mike has been playing, whether the Eagles should have drafted DeVonta Smith instead of Micah Parsons. Would you like to role play?
What kind of shows this turning into?
What
kind of shows this turning into?
Oh yeah,
Vince.
But
all right, we're gonna role play.
Yeah, I'll be Howie. Okay. You be Jerry Jones, and I'm gonna call you on draft night. I'm going from 12 to 10, and instead of DeVonta Smith, I'm gonna call for Micah Parsons. Let's see how this goes. Ready? Hello, is this Jerry?
Hello.
Hey, this is Howie the Rat.
Oh, would you like some glory hole?
No, I was actually calling to see if I could move up from 12 to 10. Would you like to trade?
I love making trades because trades are fun and I can do the things and do the stuff and do the moves around the stuff in the valley. Who are you looking to come get there, Rat?
Great. Could we move up from Micah Parsons?
Excuse me, say that again. I'm a little old, can't hear.
Micah Parsons out of Penn State.
You can go fuck yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
That's it. Ta-da.
No, you can't have Lawrence Taylor.
No. And that's how it would have went if the Eagles tried to draft Micah Parsons.
I'm actually sitting in the exact spot where you and I were when that trade went down, looking this way. That was.
I just watched that video on my phone the other day.
So good.
So
that was. I still can't believe the first draft after you and I start this podcast, they trade with each other, and the Cowboys got Lawrence Taylor, and you got a pretty good number 1 wide receiver.
Yep. It could not have worked out any better in terms of content. I think about that, like you said, all the time. Content-wise for this podcast, can't beat it.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, technically I'm rooting. Well, I'm always rooting against the Eagles. But I am technically rooting for Washington because if Dallas wins, Washington wins, the division's over. I think the division's pretty much over anyway at 9-4. But mathematically, the Cowboys win the division with a Washington win and a Dallas win.
Well, like you said, I think it's over as it is. I don't think either of us are catching it. I honestly need to speed this thing up and have you guys win the division because I don't want you guys to be playing in week 18.
Yeah.
Just play for nothing. Show up and do nothing. Just lay down. Just let us have this.
All right, I'll jump into a little bit of the Cowboys here.
Yes, please.
Obviously, like we said, we have Chris Arnold on very soon, and we'll be definitely diving into a lot of Cowboys topics, maybe even some Dallas Mavericks if Aidan gets his way. But so I don't want to dive too deep in, especially not talking about broken Dak and broken offense. I definitely want to talk to him about that. First things first, though. I gotta give a shout out. I gotta send you yours, but we got our our Mike Tag shirts.
Oh yes, love it.
So
love to see it.
The tag shirts are here, Mike.
They say, "Can you dig it on the back?"
Oh, absolutely, you know it does.
That's perfect.
Can you dig it? So as soon as I send Aidan his, we will put these on, and Aidan will definitely make Aidan do something with it, depending on what happens in this season.
We'll have a week 18 bet.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. All right, so Dallas Cowboys coming off a big, I don't even want to say big win. I have never been, Aidan, in so long, like so confused. Remember last year when I yelled, like, be the team you promised me you were going to be? That team has always been in my lifetime since the 90s, like a great offense with a poop defense. And now all of a sudden, like, I am more excited to watch the defense be on the field than the offense right now. And I'm like, so the offense was rolling. And the defense was missing guys and just like, and playing better than expected, thanks to Dan Quinn and, some guys they picked up in Jerron Kearse and obviously Micah Parsons. But now the defense is all the way back. And dare I use the word like nightmarish, like nightmare fuel, right? If this defense can get teams in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8s, like quarterbacks are going to be pissing their pants. So they're here. They're ready to roll. And the offense just, Kellen Moore forgets how to just make anything creative. They're just hitting the A gap after time. The offensive line forgets how to block. And Dak Prescott, I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if his brain is hurt. I don't know what's wrong. But why can't, like, I'm not saying they can't. We have a month left in the season to fix this. But, like, you were up 24-0. And you won this game 27-20. The offense has one touchdown in their last 19 possessions.
Is there any belief among you and Cowboys fans that even though the offense is rigid, it's because Washington and New Orleans have great defenses and it would be hard to score against them for anybody. And the defense is just playing so well that it doesn't really matter. And do you have like a silver lining? It's like, all right, in a playoff game, if our defense plays that well and our offense isn't A1, that we could still win.
Yes. But the thing that's scaring me is some of these throws that Dak is making or not making. Like, did you see the 2 interceptions against Washington?
I saw the first one and I was like, why?
And he just launched it.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the pick 6, he rolled. And the thing that scares me a little bit is he had Dalton Schultz wide open as he was rolling. But he turned, planted, and then threw the ball, and the linebacker was there. That's telling me he's worried about his calf because it was the same kind of throw he made to CD to win the Patriots game. But when he jumped up on the run, made the beautiful throw, I don't know if he's subconsciously like, if I go up and come back down, I don't want to hurt my calf again. I'm not speculating, but it's just this dude was MVP of the league, hurts his calf, misses a game, comes back and has been Mike Glennon. Not seriously,
All
but
right.
not good.
Not good. I mean, yeah, that's true. I think there's just a lack of rhythm because it's like one guy comes in, then one guy, like he was out, but then he came back, but then Amari got COVID, and it's just like now, like the Tony Pollard's out, and there's a rigidness, if that is a word, to the offense right now.
And then Jerry Jones was on, speaking of 105.3 The Fan this morning, because he's on the radio station 7 times a week.
Which is hilarious because Jeffrey Lurie never does interviews.
He's on, and his son is on, and Mike McCarthy's on once a week. It's just they're all on.
I think they talk to Sirianni once a week, and he's like legally obligated or contractually obligated. He does
on the radio or press or like a press conference or on the radio.
On the radio.
Okay,
he has to talk to the Eagles affiliate.
So Jerry was kind of making it seem like the offense is just playing vanilla football because they don't want to show everything for the playoffs.
Yeah, but I saw that, and that's just not true.
No,
like you're still 4 weeks away, and you
still need to win games, and
you could finish anywhere from the 4 seed to the 1 seed, and the division isn't even clinched yet. Like it's not, you don't go into that mode 5 weeks ahead of time or 6 weeks ahead of time. Maybe you do that like against us in week 18. Yeah. You're like, all right, we're going to keep it vanilla this week.
Exactly. Or against Arizona week 17, if there's no possible way of seeding and you think you might play them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You might scale some things back, but like, no. And if Kellen Moore can't come up with more plays for the playoffs, we have a problem. I keep hearing now he's a play caller. He's not an offensive coordinator. Like he has great plays, but he doesn't have, you know how some guys have like an offense, like, and they have them when things are going wrong. Like, this is my bread and butter. I can come back to this. And he just is a very good play schemer, which is kind of an interesting thought. I'm like, he doesn't have that. Like, this is what I'm known for. And that's why I think he just keeps going back to the Jason Garrett running up the gut on 2nd and 10. And now it's 3rd and 11.
Which is just like a very rough brand of football to watch.
It's awful. Especially when you have CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and, I don't know, Amari Cooper and Dalton Schultz.
I am of the belief that they should be throwing 75 to 80% of the time.
Especially right now, because Pollard's out and Zeke is hobbled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just throw the ball.
Like they did in week 1 against the Bucs. It was like, okay, we're not going to be able to run. Even though it's predictable that we're going to pass, we just have better skill position players than they do. So let's just do it.
And do it this week because they're playing the New York Giants. Yes, I know Tyron Smith has already been labeled out. He's not playing in this game. But, I mean, Kadarius Toney has COVID now for the 2nd time. Don't know if he's going to play. Darius Leonard has a quote-unquote significant elbow injury and is going to miss time. Chances are he's done for the season, so he's not going to play.
Darius Slayton or Leonard Williams?
Leonard Williams, I'm sorry.
Mine too.
Yeah. Leonard Williams. And then Daniel Jones is not cleared again for contact with the neck injury. Chance his season is over. He's not going to play, so it's going to be Mike Glennon again. I mean, this needs to be your get-right game. They need to score 30, 35, 40 points, win this game by 21 to 28 points.
Yeah, weather permitting, because in the Northeast, you never know. Hopefully it's good. I forgot to mention this. I'm going to the Eagles.
45 and sunny.
We'll take it. I'm going to the game on Sunday. Forgot
Beautiful.
to tell that.
Love it.
This challenged them to a shootout. Did you know in the past month, here are the players who have scored touchdowns for the Giants? Chris Myrick, the backup tight end from Temple, Andrew Thomas, the offensive tackle, and their fullback. That is the end of the list.
Yep.
Just challenge them to a shootout.
And if they don't have Tony, we have a problem. All right. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, you want to get into this?
Yeah, let's do it. Chris Arnold, 105.3 The Fan, and MC for the Dallas Mavericks. I feel like I'm going to sneak in a few Mavericks questions here. But Kevin has had a lot of thoughts. It's a crucial point in the year for the Cowboys where they're winning, but they're not winning in a impressive, convincing way. So we want to get the pulse of Dallas right now as we get into what we've called the crunch time of this last 4 weeks. So here he is, 105.3 The Fan's own Chris Arnold.
All right, Aidan, we are now joined by an absolute legend. He is an Emmy Award winner, a member of the Texas Radio Hall of Fame. He covers the Cowboys and the Mavs on my favorite radio station, 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, that I listen to every day, even from up here in Philly. You can follow him on Twitter at Mr. Chris Arnold. It's the one and only Chris Arnold. Thank you for hopping on Birds vs. Boys. How you doing, man?
Great. Got you down. Glad the guys got me here. Appreciate
Absolutely.
being on.
All right. So I need to address the big elephant in the room, right? What is wrong with this offense? Do we have a Dak problem? Do we have a Kellen Moore problem? Do we have an offensive line problem? And whatever the problem is, can it be fixed in a month?
Yes. And here's the problem. First of all, it is a Dak and Kellen Moore problem. They share it together because both of them together are brilliant. So therefore, when they're not being brilliant, they deserve criticism because that's their standard. They set the standard. If they weren't any good, we could say, well, you know what? They're just not that good. But they are that good. Is it a physical problem with Dak? No, it's not. He's not had any. There's people who want to theorize, oh, his calf injury hadn't been the same. The outliers to that theory is this. The calf injury happened at the last play of the New England game. He sat out the next game, which is Minnesota. He had some time off because they had a bye, and then he plays against Colorado or the Broncos. The whole team sucked, defense, offense, special teams. And then guess what? They have a brilliant performance, a 40-point blowout of the Atlanta Falcons. They win 43-3. Now, for those who have revisionist history, they say, well, it's just Atlanta. They forget going into that game, Atlanta had won 4 out of 5 games, and the reigning NFC Offensive Player of the Week was Matt Ryan. So it wasn't like, oh, Atlanta's not Jacksonville. They're not Detroit. They're not even the Houston Texans. The Atlanta Falcons are a decent team, and this is the NFL. If you, like I said, worry about teams, it was a 40-point victory. And in this victory, Dak Prescott ran the ball into the end zone, scared the hell out of everybody. What the hell is he doing running the ball with a 35-point lead, right? So
Jerry Jones was on 105.3 being like, easy.
Yeah, everybody was like, why are you doing this? So with that being said, there's nothing wrong with his leg. And even he showed flashes of brilliance against the Raiders in the second half. So you can't say, oh, he's got some injury. No, he doesn't. No one on that team, trainers, doctors, coaching staffs, Dak himself, anybody saying, well, you know, only fans and pundits are saying there's an injury. There's not an injury. So squash that talk right there. So what is the problem?
Yep.
It's the same thing that Patrick Mahomes was dealing with September and October. Patrick Mahomes was pressing. Why? Because he was carrying a team that had a raggedy defense. Right now, Dak Prescott is pressing because not the defense has been raggedy, but you had a compromised offensive line with players who were injured, coming in and out, suspended the whole 9 yards. You have a compromised running game because Ezekiel Elliott has an issue with his knee. No, it's not a tear or anything like that. It's obviously some type of a bruise. He can play, but he has no push off of that leg. Now you got Tony Pollard with plantar fasciitis, which is a foot injury. I mean, it's very painful. He can play on it, but the best thing he can do is stay off of it. So he's not going to be playing for a while. At the same time, your receivers, let's start with, I think it was right after the Atlanta game, Amari Cooper with a hamstring and CeeDee Lamb with an ankle injury. Then Amari's got COVID and CeeDee's got a concussion. And yet Dak and Kellen Moore pretends like the backup receivers are the same star receivers. In other words, where they are next man up, that's crap. 3 years ago, the Cowboys played against Atlanta with Chaz Green filling in for Tyron Smith. And the next man up. Yes. Chaz Green is not Tyron Smith. You cannot run the same damn plays if you don't have the Pro Bowlers, the All-Pros, the guys who can make the plays in there. So here's Dak and Kellen drawing up plays with Noah Brown as if he's supposed to be Amari Cooper. You can't win that way. And then, like I said, with the compromised offensive line, he's not getting the protection that he needs. And like I said, as he overcompensates, and like I said, presses like Patrick Mahomes, he's holding the ball too long. Now, let me give you the other secret. Quiet as is kept, since the Denver game, defensive coordinators are playing Dak Prescott differently. Now, this isn't the quote-unquote blueprint, but it's a part of it. What they're doing is they're not blitzing him. And even Greg Olsen talked about this during the game just this past week. Literally, when you don't blitz Dak Prescott, he can't exactly execute a defense. In other words, he can't take advantage of it. The first 6 weeks of the season, first 7 weeks of the season, he's got the fastest release, second to Tom Brady. He's reading the defenses just like Tom Brady. Notice I'm mentioning Tom Brady, not Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, because Dak doesn't have the arm talent like those guys. He's got a real good arm, but it's inconsistent. And because of that, he's more like a Brady. He's beating you with his mind. Mm-hmm. Well, Kellen Moore, like I said, has been enabling him like an alcoholic is giving a liquor, somebody giving liquor to an alcoholic, or somebody giving drugs to a drug addict. He's giving him these plays that either Dak is trying to execute foolishly, or he's giving him dumb plays that Dak is audible out of. It's like it's not working. And because both of them have been brilliant the first 8 games of the season, and not so much since, it's Dak and Kellen, because they know the offensive line is compromised. They know the running game isn't 100%. They know the wide receivers up until the last 2 weeks have not been up to speed, and yet they were running the same damn play. So add the lack of blitzing, Dak overthinking, and Kellen, enabling him. Mm-hmm. Thus you have an inconsistent offense.
1 + 1 = 2. All right. Speaking of, real quick, you keep saying the offensive line, which I agree with. What do you think they need to do with the left guard position? Keep McGovern there, or is it time to bring Connor Williams back?
I personally think they need to bring Connor Williams back. The Connor Williams problem was he had a target. Yeah, he had a target on his back. Not only was his technique poor, which caused a lot of his holding penalties, so you obviously need to improve upon that. But referees, they just looked his way and said, you know what? I think that guy's holding. I've seen enough film on him, or I've done some games with him previously. That guy's holding. He's a holder. So he had a target on his back for his own mental. I mean, mind you, remember, he was getting penalties for cussing out refs.
Yep.
That's how bad it was for him. I think he's technically a better left guard than Connor McGovern. I think Connor McGovern is a better right guard, but he's not, a Hall of Famer like Zach Martin. So Zach Martin, when Zach Martin can't play, which is rare, you put in Connor McGovern over there. See, McGovern's not a swing guard.
Nope.
Neither is, what's his name, the tackle. He's not a swing tackle. Yeah, Steele. Steele is not a swing tackle. He is a right tackle.
Yep.
You can't have him at left tackle and expect him to do somewhat tiring kind of thing. So that's been part of the problem. And then you had your offensive line coach, Joe Philbin, get COVID, and the assistant offensive line coach, he got COVID. So you couldn't make these in-game adjustments when, stuff was falling apart. Yeah.
All right. One more from me before Aidan hops in here, and more of a positive note here. So I can't remember a time when I was so excited to watch the defense. Almost more, I want the defense on the field more than I want the offense on the field right now. So is this defense, if it stays healthy, and they're only going to get better if they stay healthy, good enough to stop the best offenses in the league moving forward in the playoffs?
Yes, theoretically. And I say theoretically only with an asterisk, because what you saw against Washington, and my friend calls them not the Washington football team, he calls them the Washington footballs. Because
I love that.
This is the footballs, because they're not that good. Because look at the quarterbacks that they had. I mean, Taylor Heinicke and Kyle Allen. Where's Kyle Allen been, right?
Nowhere.
Those aren't those guys aren't Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford or Kyler Murray or, Lamar Jackson, guys that are known to be in the top 10. They did look really, really good against Matt Ryan. But like I said, that was an outlier. They did not look great against Derek Carr. Now that you got the defensive line and Dan Quinn, who is a genius because he builds his defense around the talents of his players as opposed to, I got to have a guy that puts his hand in the dirt. No, he sees what he's got and says, you know what? I can do it this way and I can do it that way. And
he's a chess player.
He's a chess player. And so what I love about what you saw against Washington was you had all hands on deck and you had that defensive line where pick your poison. You can't double team everybody. You can't double team Tank Lawrence. You can't double team Randy Gregory. You certainly cannot double team Micah Parsons. And then you got big boys in the middle, including Neville Gallimore, who's obviously picked up some. Man, he knocked out the center and the quarterback in one play.
Awesome.
So and then that just allows the secondary to feast. The secondary's whole strategy, the offseason, because I was talking with Anthony Brown about this, their whole game plan is to take the ball away. We're creating takeaways, so they're man coverage all the time, as opposed to more zone, which means they get burned, but they also have the opportunity to create plays, fumbles, and picks, a la Trayvon Diggs with all these picks, right? That being said, it's really going to be crazy when you got all those guys running after the quarterback and stuff in the run. So it's like, okay, the first half of the season, you had a Cowboys offense that was so good they could carry a raggedy defense, but it was balanced with a balanced running game, balanced passing attack. Now you got a balance of, the offense, if it's clicking, with a defense that can carry a team. And it's like pick your poison, that kind of way. So it's only getting more exciting because in football, usually in December, it's a war of attrition. Who's healthiest at the end? That's who wins and goes to the playoff and makes some noise. And just look at Kansas City. They were the defending Super Bowl champ, but their offensive line was compromised, and Tampa Bay came in and destroyed them in the Super Bowl. So the healthier team won the Super Bowl.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Yep. Speaking of that defense, Micah Parsons, the stats are staggering.
Meanwhile, Aidan is from Micah's hometown and was dying for him to be an Eagle.
Yes. Just him getting in the league, I was just so happy. And then I was like, oh, wait, now I have to play against
Wrong team, right?
Wrong team.
Wait, he still calls himself a lion, a la Nittany Lion, right?
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yep. I think that's where that started. I love it, though. But the stats are staggering, not just for a rookie. But I know like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt are having statistically just historical seasons. But since a lot of these awards are narrative based, do you think Micah Parsons could still win Defensive Player of the Year, considering his narrative as a rookie doing this?
Yes, it's the rookie doing this. And there hasn't been a rookie who's been Defensive Player of the Year since Lawrence Taylor. And then you have these guys pulling out the comparisons, the comps, when LT was a rookie, and LT only had 9.5 sacks. Now, mind you, it's a different league, different time, but because there's more running games back in the 80s. But still, when you keep hearing these narratives of the comp is Lawrence Taylor, it's not like, there's a comp of, name a guy. You just name somebody that's the pass rusher. Even if you said DeMarcus Ware is going to be in the Hall of Fame, but that's not like, ooh, he said LT. Yep. Oh, my God. And so the voters, we have a historic comp. And by the way, the only two rookies to ever win offensive or defense player of the year as a rookie, Lawrence Taylor on defense, and then 40 years before that, it was Jim Brown. Mm-hmm. So then you got, and then here's the other part about it. As you know, these awards are all, they're subjective. So you got a Dallas Cowboys team that's got a 9-4 record, and they're in a playoff hunt. In other words, he's not doing this on a team that's struggling. And he's a rookie, and he lines up all over the place. And he's supposed to be just a linebacker, right? Mm-hmm. Who was pressed into being an edge rusher, and he can do both. So it's like, wait a minute.
Yep.
What if he just rushed the quarterback? He can do so many different things. He's even in the last game against Washington, he's down there 30 yards down the field, breaking up a pass, almost had a pick.
Doing push-ups because he didn't catch it.
Thank you. Here's what's wild. I actually tweeted out when Dak was struggling in the second half. put in Micah. Joking.
Yeah.
Joking. But at the same time, look, people forget when he was in high school. Now, I know you know because you're from his hometown. He played running back as well as linebacker. So the running game is struggling. Give us some snaps. Kellen Moore had CeeDee Lamb running the ball. Give it to Micah.
He legit could do it. He was their running back and kick returner and was fantastic at it too.
So check this out. This is some more about Micah, which you already know, but let me share some knowledge I've learned. You know, when he was in high school as well, he was a wrestler. When he first got to the Cowboys, and a lot of Cowboy fans and experts and team builders, because team building is a sport and people love, there are so many guys that love the draft much more than the Super Bowl. I mean, you lose 3 games in a row and it's like, oh, tank. I want to watch some tape. I don't care anymore.
Give me the picks.
They don't have the cojones to watch a season play out. They'd rather, tank, I don't want to feel the pain of an up and down. I don't want to ride the roller coaster. I want to tank so I can watch tape and project. Y'all twisting that needle. But back to Micah, when he got picked, you know, there was a lot of Cowboy fans and experts that wanted, you know, they wanted the cornerback, but Surtain was taken. Or then they wanted an offensive lineman and Slater was available. They chose Micah Parsons. He's not any good. Or he's just a linebacker.
He's just a linebacker.
I dared all of them to eat their words. I dared all of them to be a man and admit they were wrong. Hey, it's called, you got more information, that's your out. Anybody that's smart, you don't double down when you have more information. You look stupid saying, Patrick Mahomes, no, he's not that good. He deserved to be picked where he was. When everybody knows damn well Patrick Mahomes would be the number 1 pick in any draft.
Absolutely.
More information. It's not hard. Be a man and own it. Say, hey, I was wrong. He seems like a generational type player. Don't say, well, I still would have rather have Slater. They need help on the offensive line. No. Give me an effing break.
No chance.
So back to Michael. So I talked to him way back in May, and I'd heard that, you know, he was a pass rusher, and he said he didn't have like a technique that he learned. He said he was a wrestler in high school, and he'd do these national tournaments. So he just relied on his wrestling instincts. And I knew he was going to have Dan Quinn as his defense coordinator. And the first thing I thought of was, I remember when Michael Bennett was with the Dallas Cowboys. You remember he was with the Eagles and went to New England, but he started with the Legion of Boom. And back then I asked him about what he'd like to do when he was with the Legion of Boom, what made him so great. And he said, Dan Quinn let him line up anywhere he wanted to, that he could line up depending on, he knew what the offense was going to do. And it was Dan Quinn that allowed him to be creative enough to line up wherever he wanted to go. And so I asked Micah, would Dan Quinn let him line up wherever he wanted to be? And he said, I don't want to give everything away, but yeah, coach really thinks that I can do a lot of different things. Now, I wasn't thinking edge rusher. I was always qualifying it in training camp and in preseason saying, he's not as big as Michael Bennett, but he's very smart and he can rush the quarterback. He can rush the passer. So maybe you don't have to line him up where Randy Gregory is or line him up over there where DeMarcus Lawrence is, but you can line him up wherever you wanted to. And I would always bring that up over and over again, not knowing that Tank Lawrence is going to break his foot and that they want to use him more as an edge rusher. But I knew he had the skill set. And at one point, you know how they got the green dot on the helmet? That means you're calling plays. They had him doing that for a little bit in October. Then they said, you know what? We don't need him to be doing all that thinking and calling plays. Let's just make him the mystery guy. Let's just have him go wherever he wants. And so Jerry Jones doesn't even call him a linebacker or an edge rusher. Jerry Jones calls him what he is. He's a disruptor. He's a disruptor.
I say his position is weapon. He's just a defensive weapon.
Swiss Army knife. You can kind of just do whatever you need. He'll be there to do it for you.
I've even called him an astronaut because he put him out in space.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
All right. Quick one from me on the offense now. So you guys talked about Dak kind of looking off these past few weeks, but Zeke just flat out looks hurt. And Tony Pollard is obviously dealing with the plantar fasciitis, which is just an annoying injury. So any chance in this next month that we have like a worlds collide moment and Corey Clement, former Eagle, kind of takes on a larger role in this Cowboys offense?
He actually did so against Washington. He was good. He was effective. And again, he's not a world beater, but he does give you a change of pace. Unfortunately for him, and what has been said, and even Zeke had a little bit of a burst this last game against Washington, but that offensive line, you just look at that tape. You're running in butts. You're running right into a butt.
Literally.
And until they figure out what they need to do, and I don't know if it's best 5 guys or the guys who played that one position best. I truly think personally, Connor Williams needs to be the starter.
I agree.
At left guard, and that might settle some things down. I also like the fact that Kellen Moore was clever to have CeeDee Lamb running the ball because he's done that in the past, and he's averaging like 7 yards a carry.
Yep.
Before that game, in that game it was 7 yards a carry. Before that game, he's averaging 9 yards a carry. Now, I'm not saying use him as a regular, but those are what they call unscouted plays. And when people say, "Oh, those trick plays, they shouldn't use those now and save them for the playoffs," Kellen Moore's got a million of them.
Yep.
I've been talking to the players, and they said they work on stuff all the time. And guess what it does? It makes the other team's defense have to look at more tape.
Exactly.
How much practice time can you set aside for these unscripted or unscouted plays? And he's got even more that he pulls out. So I look at it as a weapon. And as far as Zeke, he's going to get those carries. He's not going to be the Zeke that you saw in September and October because that knee's not going to get any better until he's just completely rested, in the offseason. But at the same time, the offensive line can do a better job.
Yep. That's what it is. It's the center and the left guard that need big help. All right, last one for me. Let's kind of put a bow on this. So the Cowboys, like we said, are sitting at 9-4, first place in the division. If they win this week and Washington wins, division's over. They win it. And they're currently the 4th seed in the playoffs with 4 games left. So they're at the Giants this week, home against Washington, home against Arizona, and finish the season at Philadelphia. What are your realistic expectations about how this season finishes the last 4 games and where they're at seeding-wise in the playoffs?
I can see them actually winning out. Arizona proved it last night that they're not invincible. And they were also, I was always impressed. Don't get me wrong. I always thought Arizona had something, and I thought the defense would be better with J.J. Watt. But remember, going into the season, Kingsbury was on the coach's hot seat. They were all wait, he's going to get fired because all he is an offensive guy. He doesn't know how to coach a whole team, and the defense isn't going to be any good. Well, the defense has been solid, and the offense has been brilliant, even without Kyler Murray. So Arizona is legit. I just think, even though here's what's wild, Kyler Murray's from this era. I've been knowing him since he was in high school. He won 3 straight state championships in the Cowboys' house. In fact, he claims that's his house because he's never lost a game at AT&T Stadium. Okay, Kyler Murray has never lost there in his whole life. So it's going to, as T.O. put it, get your popcorn. It's going to be a show. But I can actually see the Cowboys winning out, but not being the number 1 seed, not even being the number 2 seed. I can see them, with a 12-5 record and still being the 4 seed.
Yep, I agree. I think it's going through Lambeau.
I do too. And you know what? I'm still waiting for somebody to be a real man and step on Aaron Rodgers' toe.
Help us out.
I honestly,
yeah.
It could be his offensive lineman at this point, and it would do the job. Yeah.
It's like how is he getting by? And if Ndamukong Suh would play him, he would do this. If Tampa Bay was playing, Ndamukong Suh would do this.
Seems right up his alley, considering his history.
And he'd still find a way to just keep winning. Like he beat Dallas on one leg years ago in the playoffs.
Dez caught that ball, but and you're right. See, let me go ahead and keep it real. Dez caught that ball. McCarthy threw the flag, and they reviewed it, and there was not a rule that showed that wide receivers could be athletic. So he caught the ball, but every Cowboy fan really knows too much damn time on the clock. Aaron Rodgers going to march right back down the field, even if they score the touchdown.
And you know what everybody forgets about that game? What really hurts is that DeMarco Murray fumble.
Yeah.
That's what people always go to Dez caught it, but if DeMarco holds onto that ball, Dallas wins that game.
They do, and they control the clock as well.
Yep. All right, Aidan,
I know you're
dying
to have you guys relive this.
Yeah. All right, get out of here. Listen. All right.
Well,
There's only,
I've got
there's only
one more. And I'm
There's
gonna.
only 1 year on your dumb banner, okay?
Listen, I'll take my one. All I needed was one. Let's completely switch gears for my last question. I did my research, like we talked about pre-show. I know you're a Mavs fan and also an MC for the Mavs. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the game at MC. So if during the timeouts, whatever, you might see me doing interviews. You might see me hosting a half-court shot for $20,000, stuff like
Love
that.
it.
That is,
And I also do the PA from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
that is an awesome job. I love that.
Luka.
There it is.
That's perfect. That actually is where I was going with my question too, with Luka Doncic. So as an outsider from Philly, so I don't get to watch the Mavs on a nightly basis, obviously, but from an outsider's point of view, it seems like they need to put another star with Luka so they can take that next step with him in this era. So I have a sales pitch for you. What if I
don't want Ben Simmons.
You want him? Or do
I
you
don't
not?
want him.
Oh man, you didn't even let me give my sales pitch. He does so many good
Okay,
things.
let me hear the sales pitch now. Then I'll tell you why I don't want him.
Okay. All right. I know the Mavs with Jason Kidd now, they want to create 3-pointers, as many as they can. He creates a lot of 3-pointers with his passing ability. Great defender, would improve the defense, can take some of the ball handling abilities and take the pressure off of Luka. Have I improved your interest? Can I sell you on Ben Simmons?
On paper, that looks great, especially because Jason Kidd actually emphasizes defense. People realize he's the second all-time guy in assists, but is Hall of Famer, but he's a 9-time All-NBA first team all defense. He's always preaching defense. With Giannis, he and the Mavericks defensive coordinator, Sean Sweeney, they unleashed Giannis on the defensive side and made him the complete player that he is. So I know what you're saying about Ben Simmons, first team defense. He's a great defender, but everybody kind of skips over the man won't make a layup because he won't make a free throw. He won't make a dunk. He's not going to shoot a three. And it's not even about the Mavericks need 3-point shooters. I could see him do that if it wasn't for the fact the man off season doesn't try to get better. Mm-hmm. And that's why nobody will trade for him. Philadelphia is trying to trade him. The Sixers are trying to trade him based upon his stats and his resume. But every general manager knows you can't count on him in playoffs. He doesn't care to win. He just likes to play. And he's not going to improve his game in the offseason. He's not driven. There's not a Kobe bone in his body.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I kind of.
So you can't convince me. And like I said, if he were really like, oh, this guy's a dog in the playoffs, he's just a very talented player.
And it ends there.
Yeah.
And it is there. He's not going to, when he would refuse to make a layup in that playoff, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because he's terrified of going to the line. Mm-hmm. He's like, come on, man. You could have dunked it. You're 6'9" or whatever height it is.
I conveniently left out the part in my sales pitch that he won't take accountability, refuses to work on his jump shot, passed up a dunk with 3 minutes left in Game 7, left all that out.
I said a layup. It was a dunk. I mean, he's 6'9", he could have dunked. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I watched it. I was like, God. And again, he would cause Jason Kidd to lose his mind because Jason Kidd he's like competitive like Kobe. He's all about winning and off-season work and doing these things. And by the way, you mentioned Luka needs a co-star. You've been sleeping on Porzingis lately. Mm-hmm. Porzingis has been good. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Porzingis is perfect. He is really good when he's healthy, and he's not this guy that's always injured because his injuries have been based on contact, and he's not a load management guy like Kawhi because Kawhi demands the load management. Rick Carlisle load managed Porzingis against his wishes last year, and then had him space the floor and stand in the corner. And so what you're seeing right now, if you just look at it, you're seeing New York Knicks Porzingis because Jason Kidd is unleashing it. And just last night, the dude had 24 points. He had 22 points, 24 because they rested him second half because they didn't need him. They blew out Charlotte. He had 22 points, 12 rebounds, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 13 rebounds, and 5 block shots. Most of that in the first half. Most of that in the first quarter. And this was without Luka. And they blew out Charlotte. That's Porzingis. And Porzingis was just all over the place. I mean, it was.
That's a good win. Yeah.
And by the way, that was off of a back-to-back. And they blew out Charlotte, where they had played 5 games in 7 nights. I'm talking about Dallas. And that was Porzingis. With Porzingis, they've won their last 2 games on a back-to-back. Porzingis playing both of them because he's ready. He said, "I felt better, last night than it did the first game in Oklahoma City." So again, all I'm saying is they need some help, but it's not necessarily a co-star. They could use another guard so he won't be James Harden, the highest user rating in the NBA. Right now it's Luka. And Luka doesn't need that many touches. He really doesn't. The offense doesn't need to be going through him as much. That's what they're trying to do. And again, Ben Simmons would help with that way, but what you got in the playoffs where it matters,
No,
nothing.
We don't have to worry about that part. You'll take him. We'll do a 3-team trade. Just give a few picks to Oklahoma City.
It's so funny. It's so funny. I saw, how they do these things. I saw a 3-team trade where Porzingis winds up in Philadelphia. Simmons winds up in Dallas, and Dorian Finney-Smith winds up in Boston. Boston gives up some picks or something, but they still keep their core. And I was like, okay, that's being creative, and I could see it if it weren't for the
right there, the heartbeat.
Yeah,
that is why Ben Simmons is sitting down right now. Put like this, he wants to play. It's not like he's Kyrie and wants to play, but he won't take a shot. He wants to play, but not for what Daryl Morey is asking for. It's like, no.
Nope.
He doesn't want to take a different type of shot. He doesn't want to take
exactly.
that shot. That's the problem.
By the way, speaking of different kind of shots, I don't know if you guys caught Joe Buck, what he said about Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Andrews gave him the update about the toe. Did you hear about this? Is serious. He did this impromptu.
No,
so they're doing the pregame for Fox, and Aaron Andrews is standing on the sideline. She's saying, well, Aaron Rodgers, because of that toe, he took a painkiller. And so Joe Buck said, oh, he took a shot to mitigate the pain.
Oh.
He's immunized for that.
Yeah, he immunized the pain. All right, I have to. Before I get you out of here, Chris, we've had, and I always have to ask Aidan this after every time, we've had a lot of awesome personalities from Dallas on, and it hurts Aidan because we've had RJ Choppy on, Kavanaugh's been on, Kyle Yeomans, Heckma Harrison, Ari Temkin. We've had a ton of guys. The best media in sports is in Dallas. I say it all the time. And Aidan gets very upset because every time we have another Cowboys personality on, he goes, damn it, I love these guys. This hurts. So did it happen again, Aidan?
Oh, yeah. I could have done a whole another hour of talking NBA after we did our NFL interview.
We can do that down the road whenever you guys want. And you know what? You know why it's easy for us down here? Our style of radio is not combative. Where in Philadelphia, it's combative. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, that'll wear you out. It can be fun and clever, but Angelo can wear you out, especially if you're already coming off of a loss and you're having a bad day, you're trying to get through traffic. You might want to hear, but it'll wear you out. You'll be exhausted when you're finished. Whereas, we're a little bit lighter. We're not kiss ass, but we're lighter,
Mm-hmm. You're fun and educational all at the same time. It's awesome.
Yeah. We try to be clever.
Yeah, so there's plenty of that too. All right. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter, where they can listen to you, how they can watch you, all that.
You can listen to us on the Odyssey app. That's 105.3 The Fan on 105.3thefan.com. That's here in Dallas. We're the home of the Dallas Cowboys. You can Google all that up. And you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Chris Arnold. Got you there.
You are the man. Thanks for being on with us, Chris. And I hope you're right. Cowboys win out, and maybe we'll have you on again during playoff time. Appreciate it.
It'll be fun. And again, there's a last game against Philadelphia, so that might be a natural situation. You never know.
Absolutely. Aidan, that was another win in terms of guess.
I was not blowing smoke at the end. when I said that I could have done a whole nother hour just talking NBA basketball. Like that was awesome. Like I was so caught up in the moment talking to Chris. I didn't even like look up in the corner to see what the time was. I was like, I could have just kept going for another half hour.
It was awesome. Like he brings the energy. He knows what he's talking about. I love when we have a guest on too. He's like, yeah, I was talking to Anthony Brown. Yeah, I was talking to Micah. Like
I love
the
that.
access these guys have are awesome, and we
I
have
caught
access
that.
to them.
Yeah, that like opened my eyes. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that you guys like legit talk to these guys, like interview them weekly.
All right. So thank you again to Chris Arnold. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter at Mr. Chris Arnold. And if you are a Cowboys fan, check out 105.3 The Fan. Listen to his tailgate show that's on every week before the pregame show on game days. Before we do our TikToks, Aidan, I don't always do this, but I'm holding your feet to the fire. What happens in the Eagles game this weekend? Win or loss?
I am pretty confident. I think the vibes are pretty strong. I will definitely know. There's just a sense to it. When you step foot on that parking lot in South Philadelphia, you know, like your feet touch that pavement and you have a good idea. So when I hit there on Sunday, I'll know for sure, but almost always my vibes are correct. Okay. So we'll see. But like I said before, like this is, to me, it's just like easy. Like I think that they should win this game. I'm pretty confident that they will. And if they can't beat, if Washington is as hindered as we think they're going to be and they can't beat them, well, then, I mean, we just don't deserve to be in the playoffs. So it's like, it would be tough to swallow, but at least I know we don't deserve it,
Sure. I'm kind of feeling the same way. I think, like I said earlier, this needs to be a get-right game for the offense. Let the defense continue to hunt. At the same time of hopefully getting some guys healthy. If you don't have to run Zeke all game, don't do it. Iron Smith obviously isn't playing. I mean, go beat their heads in, right?
Yeah.
Just go demolish this Giants.
I totally agree. I don't know how much you saw of the Chargers-Giants game, but I feel like it could be a bit similar. Maybe not because it'll be colder and you're not playing at that fast LA turf. Also, we're back. Chargers, we're back.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You and I. It depends on the week, but I think we're back. They play the Chiefs this week, so we'll see.
Yes.
That throw that Herbert made, I didn't think it was ever going to come down.
No.
But I think it could be similar to that, where it's just like a double-digit affair the entire game.
Like I would enjoy not sweating.
Yeah. Like this is a game, like if it were 20-3 Cowboys at halftime, I wouldn't blink twice.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I need to go find somewhere to watch this game since the dumb Eagles play at the same time and I'm in that market. So
what are you going to do?
All right. Let's get into our TikToks. No Vince because his agent said no to us. So maybe next week.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. Next week you might have a sit-down interview with Kirk Herbstreit or something.
You and I better figure out how to start cutting audio and visuals.
I know. We're gonna have to hire an intern since he has an intern now too. We'll see
to do our work.
All right, 2 TikToks tonight. We're going to do one that is familiar and one not so familiar. So let's start with the unfamiliar one first. We're going to do top 5 coaches who should and could be fired at the end of this season.
So 5 down to 1. I think my list is pretty good.
I didn't realize how many people should be fired until I started like actually thinking about it. Did the same thing happen to you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And,
all right.
Shocker, I don't think Bill Belichick's on this list.
I think he'll be coach of the year.
He's 6.
Big game.
Yeah, big game.
Big game Saturday night.
Yep.
This could be it one way or another. Carson Wentz. We'll see.
Bill Belichick is 6.
I never, ever, ever should you ever be confident in beating the Patriots. But I just feel like
they find a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at them last week against the Bills. They threw the ball 3 times. He wore a Navy mask. Like they went into that game knowing what they were going to do.
Yeah. I have a weird feeling about the Colts this week, though. Like they just realized the magnitude of this because of the teams that lost this week. If they get to 8-6, they're in a commanding position in the playoffs. Like I think they realize the magnitude of this game. So
Speaking of Bill Belichick, and did you see the man in the arena with the Tom Brady things? The first Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, when a media member had a planned parade route that he put out for the Eagles Super Bowl parade, and Belichick actually put it up in the locker room as motivational bulletin board material.
No, that frustrates me so freaking much. Didn't know that. Why would you ever do that? Ugh,
Love it.
hate. Why would you ever do that? Shout out to T.O. though. 9 receptions, 122 yards, 1 ankle. That was awesome.
Unbelievable.
That was the best. That was my favorite player. Like that and watching Embiid and Harper this past year. I've never watched more dominant.
Imagine if they would have just given T.O. the money.
Yeah. Would have worked. Would have worked. All right. Back to coaches that should be fired. All right. We'll just go no triangle tonight. Just me to you. And
Boom,
you've
boom,
got
boom,
5.
boom.
I've got 5.
Yep. Perfect.
Cool. At 5, it's Pete Carroll. Listen, the Seahawks, this has to come to an end. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I expect either Carroll or Russell Wilson will be gone after this season. They have to shake up the way this offense has been going.
So I had Pete Carroll at 5 as well, but I didn't put him there because I think he's going to walk away. I think he's going to retire, so I don't think he's going to be fired. I think they come to mutual agreement, or he decides to walk away, because if Russell Wilson does leave, there's no way he continue. He doesn't want to coach a rebuild.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, that you're right. This is such a classic quote unquote mutually part ways situation.
Yep. So 5 for me, this is my one shock of the list. I don't know if it's going to happen. I probably isn't, but I've seen his name thrown around a little bit, and there's just chaos there, and they're just not good. Is Matt Rule. Obviously his offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, is gone. I know they have a lot of injuries. The quarterback position is a carousel there. I don't think this happens. Don't yell at me, TikTok world. I don't want this to happen. We both love Matt Rule, but I just put him at 5 because it's a shit show in Carolina.
I know an open coaching position you can come to. Come on home, baby.
I knew you'd love that.
At 4, I have David Colley of the Houston Texans. I feel bad. He got his one shot, but I feel like he was just like a 1-year stopgap. They are obviously completely blowing this thing up, and they'll continue to do so this offseason and likely move Deshaun Watson and just start anew with a new coach. And there was just nobody available that wanted to take this job this year. And maybe next year there's someone who's willing to do it, who is a bit more like, we're building with this guy for the future.
So I didn't put David Colley on my list just because I feel bad for him. 1, 2, it's not his fault. And 3, nobody else wants that job. So, yeah. So 4 for me is Kevin Stefanski. The Browns just are so up and down.
Wow.
They are just the Baker Mayfield news. It keeps coming out with how, they're putting out my injury news. They're underplaying it, the coaching staff, but I want the injury news out there because it makes me feel, tougher. They're just, obviously, I think the defense is one of the most talented in the league, but they play up and down. This team's way too talented to be possibly not even making the playoffs this year. So I think he is on the hot seat.
I think TikTok's going to get mad at you for that one.
That's fine.
I know. Well, they're going to get mad at us regardless.
Mm-hmm. They always do.
Yeah. Yeah, that I don't know. I think they have more like, you have to figure out this Baker Mayfield thing.
Yeah.
Okay, at 3, I have Matt Nagy. This is well overdue. They talk about predictable, boring offenses. That is the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to get somebody else in to develop Justin Fields, and Matt Nagy clearly isn't that guy. The offense is stale and boring, and so is this team. And the experiment, or whatever you want to call it, his tenure has come to a close.
All right, 3 for me is Mike Zimmer of the Minnesota Vikings. He's been there a very long time. He has a very hot girlfriend who is a model, but he only has one eye. But I think it's time to go. This Vikings team is always uber talented and always disappoints. I think the 2 nails in the coffin this year was 1, losing to Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys at home, and then losing to the winless Vikings as well. So I think it's like you said before, what is the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That seems like it's every year with this Vikings team, and we always get the same result. Yes, Kirk Cousins is there, but they're not going to get rid of him yet. I think Zimmer's gone after this year.
Those losses definitely are helping the Eagles at this point, because that is our main competition for the playoff spot outside of Washington, who we play.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so at 2, I have Urban Meyer, and I want to take my time to somehow defend Urban.
Uh-oh.
The Jaguars are a dysfunctional mess, and they were so before he ever got there. They hire people that everybody in the world says, well, this will be a bad idea. And then they do it anyway. Like when they brought in Tom Coughlin, and we were like, well, that seems really dumb. I don't think he'll work out as a player personnel guy. And then all of the players hated him, and they blew up an AFC championship team within 2 years. And then after that, they brought in Urban Meyer, and everyone's like, well, this will probably backfire. And it has, even more so than we thought it was going to be.
And faster.
They don't draft well. Like, they have nothing going for them. And I think they're going to be a disaster after they fire Urban Meyer. It's so obvious that he should be fired, but they have problems there that extend so far beyond Urban Meyer going to a bar after a Thursday night football game and hooking up with a co-ed.
And I don't think those problems end until they move to London.
They got to do, you know what they're going to do? Hire Doug Peterson. It's so obvious. I think our boy Chase Sr. said it today, but it is like, if you want to do something right, that everyone would be like, okay, now you're doing the right thing. That would be it.
Yep. So for those reasons as well, I have Urban Meyer at 2 for me as well. Did you see in the press conference this week when the media was asking him about the one safety, and they were asking him why hasn't he been getting any snaps? They've been calling for this guy a lot. And he's like, well, I think he has been getting more run. He got some plays in there. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but he's been getting more run. He had 0 snaps in the game, not one play. This dude doesn't even know who's playing football for him. And all of on top of it, calling his coaches losers, everything coming out of that building is that Trevor Lawrence is doing everything he can for this team. And this coaching staff is absolutely destroying him. Can't happen.
They are in a weird spot. I know it's like 1 year, and this sounds like overblown. Like, they are in jeopardy. Like, he had 4 interceptions last week. He is not going the right direction, and he was supposed to be a generational talent, and he looks lost, and the team looks lost. Also, the reporters who cover the team, it goes against every Big J journalist thing that you learn at your university, but they have to just like make up names and people and ask him about them and see if he like responds as if they're part of the team, and try to trick him into talking about
you think
players.
Aidan Powers is going to get any runs this weekend, Coach?
Yeah, you make up names of like movie characters that played football and see if it works. You have that responsibility to the people.
Do you think Willie Beeman could be called up from the practice squad this week?
Yes.
I love it.
Please. All right. At 1, it's so obvious. The biggest loser to ever walk this earth. Can't believe he was ever given a job in the NFL to begin with. He is a stain on the shield that is the NFL, in a league that prides itself on being competitive. He is the opposite of that. It is the biggest loser of all time. Joe Judge, he should be fired. The GM should be fired. His fake tough guy act should be done. He should never get a job outside of a AAA Pennsylvania high school football team. Joe Judge is the biggest loser to ever coach a football team ever, of all time, in the history of the NFL. There have been 54 Super Bowls. Joe Judge is the biggest loser in all 54 of those seasons. Since training camp, he has been a disaster. The players hated him so much that they retired. They got into the season, year 3, still hasn't developed a quarterback. The offense is anemic. They develop nothing on offense. His try-hard act clearly isn't working. You think that the Jaguars that we talked about, or the Texans, or the Jets are the worst team in the league over the past 4 years? No, it's the Giants. Joe Judge, biggest loser to ever walk the earth.
Joe Looney legitimately signed from the Dallas Cowboys, left the Cowboys, signed with the Giants, was there one day. He was making them run 100-yard gassers and pads, and Joe goes, I'm out, and literally walked out the door, and now does media relations stuff for the Cowboys and is having the time of his life. So, yes. I don't have Joe Judge on my list because I don't think the Giants are going to fire him. I think he's going to be given another year. I really do. I think it's just a Giant. I don't think they want a third coach in 6 years. I don't think they want 2, 2, and 2. And I just feel like that's a Giants move to try and. I feel like they're like, okay, because he apparently wanted to get rid of Jason Garrett last year, and Mara said no. So now I think he has that, like, let me build the staff I want. And he's been this progression here, this progression there. I don't think he deserves to continue. I think he stinks, but I did my list based on who I think is going to get fired. So
what if they fire the GM, bring in a new one, and that GM's like, well, I don't care. Like, I want to do my own thing. You know?
I think they will hire a GM telling him that this is your coach, and they won't hire somebody that says no.
Yeah.
So I don't like it, but it's the Giants. So one for me is Matt Nagy. Like you said, this offense in Chicago is just terrible. Did you see him at halftime on the game against the Packers on Monday night, where he's like, "This is so much fun. I'm having a lot of fun. This is so much fun." And then it was like the SpongeBob thing. And it was like a few moments later, he was like on the sideline, just like dead. It was just picture perfect, poetic. I feel bad for him. He seems like a nice guy, but all season long, like, he was calling the plays and they were terrible. And then he gave play calling duties up. The offense looked like a completely different offense. And then he was like, they were asking him like, "Oh, the offense is doing better now that you don't have play calling." He's like, I'm still the head coach. I make decisions. And it's like, dude, stop. You're just not good.
And he's not awful, because like at one point they were good under him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure he was in the running for coach of the year, or was coach of the year. But it's just like, it's one of those, I was going to say, it just ran its course.
Mm-hmm.
It's just clear.
It's over. All right. Let's go to our happy TikTok, and then we'll get the people out of here.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. So this one is the one people are familiar with. This one will be quick. Mm-hmm. It is the power rankings, top 5 teams in the NFL right now.
I'm not even giving analysis. I'm just giving my list.
I can honestly be quick with it. It's just, you'll know the names and you'll know why.
Yep.
So at 5, I have the Patriots. I cannot believe that we let them be good again.
It's unbelievable. 5, I have the Patriots as well. Mac Jones dropped all the way to Bill Belichick.
Also, the defense is unreal.
Yeah.
At 4, I have the Cardinals. I know people think they're a fraud after the loss to the Rams. I still think they have a lot of talent. They just got to figure out the game management thing.
4 for me, I have the Arizona Cardinals as well. DeAndre Hopkins is a freak. Kyler does his thing, and that defense can ball out. And it's hard to play in Arizona sometimes. So if they get home field advantage, it's going to be, harder to go to Lambeau, but it's still not fun to go to Arizona. It's loud.
Yep. At 3, I have the Packers, solid on both sides of the ball. DeVonta Adams is uncoverable. Aaron Rodgers is in that last dance mode, and I would not want to go to Lambeau in January.
3, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has figured it out. The offense just put up over 48 points on the Las Vegas Raiders, the most points they've scored in like 3 years. And the defense, starting with the Dallas Cowboys game, figured it out.
At 2, I have the Bucks. I just think they have the most weapons on offense of anyone in the league. And obviously, when Tom Brady is throwing to them, that usually leads to good things. So at 2, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
2, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well for everything you said. Plus, they have Antonio Brown, who's just been resting and is going to be ready to go when playoff time comes, which is going to be scary.
Yep. At 1, I have the Kansas City Chiefs, back where they belonged from the beginning of the season, on a 6-game win streak. The defense has been the one carrying them. They have obliterated the Raiders twice in the span of 3 weeks. The weapons are back. They're healthy. The defense looks awesome. And Patrick Mahomes, you can trust him with anybody in the league.
1 for me, it's the Packers. I think NFC is going to go through Lambeau. They don't even have Bakhtiari back yet. Jair Alexander, Smith on the defensive line. This defense is balling out, and the offense can do almost whatever it wants. If they get Cobb back, that's just another addition. Their special teams is horrific. It's absolutely horrific. But I think that Aaron Rodgers is on the ultimate middle finger tour this year. It started with the whole thing in the offseason, and then it was just added more fuel to the fire with the immunization and then the toe. I think he is on a tear and is going to take this team all the way to the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't doubt it, especially with the Last Dance thing. But yeah,
I do not want to go to Lambeau in the playoffs.
Oh, it is very cold.
Yes. Tom Coughlin almost lost his face there.
Yeah, that game was unreal. I'll never forget.
His face was falling off.
Yeah, it literally looked like the scene in Avengers when he snaps his finger and the guys their skin starts to fall.
That was it.
That was it. Good list, though. Good TikToks, good interview, good episode. Ran long, but we had a lot to talk about. Like we said, it's crunch time.
Hey, that's what happens when Vince isn't here. Sorry, Vince. Have fun editing.
Yeah. Well, no. Who knows?
There's not really much to do.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, that was great. 2 big divisional games this week. This is what it's all about. Divisional games in December with playoff implications. So this should be a lot of fun. I'll tweet when my feet touch the pavement on Sunday. I will tweet and let us know how we're feeling.
Hopefully this episode is out before you send that tweet on Sunday.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you to everybody. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Birds vs. Boys Pod. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We are on Spotify. There's actually visual on Spotify too. You can watch our beautiful faces as well as on YouTube, Apple, and wherever else you like to listen to podcasts. Hit those 5 stars, subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your family. Thanks for listening. This has been episode 95 of Birds vs. Boys. We are closing in on 100, which I believe will be heading into the Eagles Cowboys, or will be heading into the first week of the playoffs, which also could be Eagles Cowboys.
I think it should. Yeah, I was about to say that would be remarkable. Let's hope it happens.
Enjoy the games, everybody.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.